Baby's a star, aren't you?
Hey, what's good, everybody? Welcome back to the Sneaker Convos series of conversations, panels, live podcasts, you name it. We're just talking kicks for a handful of days here. I've got some great guests with me for this conversation. TD and Jeremy host a podcast called The Politics of Life, but also talk a lot of sneakers along with those politics on their podcast. Yeah. And that's what we're going to do today is kind of catch up about some of the things that have been going on, some of the shoes that have been coming out. And yeah, guys, welcome to this. You know, I can no longer call it what I originally called it when we first talked about doing this. But, you know, I guess that means that somebody was paying attention, right? So Sneaker Convos it is.
Exactly.
So TD was on the Sneaker History podcast. I guess maybe, man, it must have been it's over a year ago now. Yeah.
No, it was when I was out in LA for the Grammys. Wasn't it last year or something like that?
Beginning of last year. Yeah. So before the pandemic, right?
Yeah, so. Exactly. So yeah, it's fucking brutal, you know, but yeah, I mean, I had such a good time doing that. And you and I, you know, go back, what did we say, like 07, 06?
Yes, 7? I think 07, probably something like that.
Yeah. 07.
Back when Aaron and I were doing F5 to refresh.
Yeah. And you know, thankfully we've always stayed in touch and you know, it was you and I, like I said, we've been through so much with the sneaker what it's become now. And it's like you and I are of the old generation, and then Jeremy is of the current generation.
Oh man, here we go.
Jeremy's like, I'm buying sneakers on an app, and you and I, and it's like the funny thing is I tell everyone that thank God I grew up when I did. Thank God I got to walk in and see the new Air Tech Challenge. Thank God I got to see Mike coming out in the All-Star game and seeing the new Air Jordan. Thank God there was, like I said, thank God I got to grow up with NWA and Public Enemy and, you know, every you know, Ice-T and just, like I said, and getting to see everything. And that first, because I want Jeremy to talk about this, because so much of my passion and love for it has subsided quite a bit, because I don't get that same joy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't get that same joy of love, of just that you got when you walked in and you saw the new Air Trainer 3s or the new Air Tech Challenge or the new Jordans or the new whatever it was. Like, can you imagine, Nick, in your life not getting to watch the Fab Five play?
Well, so this is what's interesting, right? I think you and I never talked about this, but like, you doing the podcast with Jeremy gives you that connection to his interest and his passion for this, right? And I think that's the most beautiful thing about all this. And I kind of unintentionally did the same thing. You know, I'm always connecting with the guys on the Sneaker History podcast who are a little bit younger than me, a little bit, you know, like we all have like this common bond of like the passion for sneakers, the conversations around sports, around, you know, hip hop. But it is really interesting. And actually throughout all these conversations, this seems to be kind of a common thing, right? Like, I know, like in my work, I got to be around, you know, the young 20 somethings, right? I want to be around that energy because that's where the fire is at. Right. And, you know, some people have fire at 80 and God bless them.
Right.
You know, I'm for the first time in, you know, hitting 41, moving on to 42 here soon. I'm feeling old for the first time in my life, right? I've always been the guy that's like, you know, sneakers, skateboarding, basketball, baseball, like cars, like everything keeps me feeling young. Right. And what's weird is we chase all these shoes still, right? That like bring back those memories. Yeah. But I'm also really fascinated because I'm proactively trying to connect with people that have a different excitement, right? Like you know, I think of like the kids that are into Kyrie right now.
Yeah,
man, like, I mean, it's different, right? Like you and I think back to like the Jordan 3 and, 3-4 colorways of every Jordan, and that's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kyrie's got 3-4 colorways in a week sometimes,
Yeah, exactly.
Which it's a different vibe, but it's so similar in a lot of ways. And that's kind of the interesting thing that I'm discovering and having all these conversations, man. It's wild how it's changed so much, but it's not, it's the same too, right?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
I think you hit the right shoe with somebody, they light up, and it's like, yep, this person gets it.
Yeah, and I do think about the shoe thing. It is because, but I'm going to tell you this, and I'm going to let Jeremy say this in the morning. For me, it was never about the shoe. For me, it was because Mike walked out, and it was like Jesus, and whatever he was doing, I wanted to do, whatever it was, right? When Andre Agassi came out wearing all denim at Wimbledon, I was like, yo, I got to wear denim. When I go wherever, I got to wear denim. It was never for me. The shoe made me the attachment with the person, right? That I wanted to be like Mike. Absolutely. I'm 43. I just turned 43. I still want to be like Mike, and I still smoke cigars with Mike, and I still want to be Mike, but it's that it wasn't first the shoe for me. It was my connection with like Bo Jackson, and when he walked the wall at Kansas City, or the Raiders, or the White Sox, or whatever it was the player, and MJ was at the top of that list. For me, it was never about the shoe. The shoe was just something that I could wear that made me feel I was close. When Mike, like I said, he's the closest thing to walking on water. And I'm still, to this day, when he's sitting right there, I'm still, everybody's like, TD, calm down. I'm like, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. It's Mike. And you can ask, when Jeremy and I were at the party in Chicago, it's still Mike. And
he was floating. I ain't gonna lie to you. I was like, you know the song in Space Jam, "Fly Like an Eagle." Yeah, that's what I felt like when I seen him. I didn't think I was gonna feel that way,
And it was never, like I said, it was never about the shoe for me. It was about that gave me, the shoe gave me the ability to have some attachment or some thing with the person that I idolized. And still to this day. And even though he sits right there with smokes cigars, I'm still idolizing him, it's still. And there was never, like I said, it was never really about the shoe for me. The shoe was because that's Jesus walking on water. Because the swag, it, Nick. And the other thing is, like, you were at the TV, right? Because the new commercial for the Air Jordan was coming out the All-Star weekend.
Yeah.
You parked your ass in front of that motherfucking TV until you saw the new commercial and you got to see the new Jordan. And then it was, you're going to run to your Foot Locker and they're going to be sitting there. And it's going to be like you're touching a piece of gold.
Yeah. Yeah. So Jeremy, do you have, other than MJ, are there other celebrities?
Oh, he worships
artists.
LeBron. He worships LeBron. He always tells me LeBron's the GOAT.
LeBron is the GOAT. But, and I'm going to say this, my generation, because I'm about 27 now, right? So my generation is like the bridge between your generation and like Gen Z. So I've seen like the world change from like being like analog to digital, so, and my generation knew Michael Jordan for Space Jam.
That's because you're a bunch of fucking weirdos.
But it's important. I just always say it's important. Certain things are important, like to like categorize. Like, we didn't know Mike for playing basketball. I just knew Michael Jordan from Space Jam. So I don't have that connection. How you seen Mike dunk from the free throw line, or won his championships. I remember Mike on the Wizards. So it's different.
What's funny about that is actually hilarious that you brought that up, because my girlfriend is younger than me, and like our circle of friends is younger than me. But what's crazy is I never watched Space Jam until about a year ago.
Wow.
Really?
For me, and it, like I get it. I don't need to watch it to understand what it was. But for me, to your point, Jeremy, I was almost past. I felt like it was a bad commercial. I felt like, look, the commercial that comes out for the Jordan release is the inspiration that I want. The cartoon, it's not for me. Like, don't get me wrong. I think I think the Space Jam is beautiful. Like, obviously, the Jordan 11 is an incredible shoe, but I just didn't have interest in the movie in that way. And I almost felt like, well, this is like, I don't want to say it was like, I wasn't like over MJ and the Bulls or anything at that point, but it was really like, this is kind of weird to me. It just didn't make sense. And, I watched it recently because, a bunch of my friends were giving me a hard time that, hey, I'm a sneaker guy and I hadn't seen this movie that's, so important to sneakers. And it was hilarious. It's a little dated now, but it's still like, I'm excited to see LeBron in the next one, right? Like, I think that's going to be phenomenal because I know that we could get into that debate over LeBron and MJ and anybody else that comes in.
There's no fucking debate. Are you kidding me? There's no debate. And you know what? Let me tell you something. LeBron is a solid top 10 player.
You know what? No, you're going to say that on this podcast.
There's nothing.
You're going to say
that publicly. LeBron is a solid top 10 player. That's what he is.
All right.
But that probably comes back and bite me in the ass at some point.
Yeah, it will. It will. When we see the man, when we see him, I'm going to
bring that same energy. I don't give a fuck.
You keep bring up this tape, all right?
Fine, bring it up. Call it.
We've talked about this. I gotta say, LeBron, the shit that LeBron does off the court, man,
incredible.
Fuck, I am so grateful that he is an example for anybody that's looking up to a basketball player that and just entrepreneur, creative, fighting for what's right. Everything that he does to me is incredibly admirable. And we've talked about this offline many times, but I can't ever take that out of the equation now, thinking about it, because I've seen it with LeBron, right? I don't think that MJ is any less for not doing all of that stuff, but at this point, like, it is absolutely, just, I think he inspires the rest of the guys in the league. I think he inspires all these people to get involved.
You and I are going to have a conversation offline. You and I are going to have a conversation offline, and I'm going to call you this weekend. That's possible.
Okay, so look, though, the one thing I will say is that as much as I appreciate kind of the visibility that's come into sneakers in the past 5 to 10 years, especially even in the last 2-3 years with the guys in the tunnel being able to see what they wear off the court.
Right.
None of that compares to seeing Michael and the swag walking out onto the court, stepping out of the Ferrari. All of those things were absolutely levels above anything anyone could do now, because we see everything and we see too much, to be honest.
We see too much. What was it that Jeremy, just out of curiosity, Perm, what was the shit? That's, by the way, his real alias is Big Perm. Yeah. What was the sneaker that really started it for you? The Yeezy 350?
Come on, don't do that. Don't do that, bro. Don't do that.
What was it, like the Yeezy 350? Or was it the Galaxy Foams?
No, my
the Galaxy Foams, was it?
My aunt bought me, when I was in second grade, she bought me the Air Jordan 15.
Oh, okay.
The Flint gray pair. It was like my first. I like dogged them. Like, I was playing kickball in them. I was doing everything, but that was like the first Jordan I really got. And my mom bought me
in second grade.
Yeah, second grade.
Jesus Christ.
I'm sorry, but be younger than you are. It's okay.
So you were wearing like a size 3 or some shit.
I was like a 6.5, 7, something like that.
You weren't no 7 in second grade. You were probably like a 4.
Yeah, no 6, 7.
Like a 3 or a 4.
I roll you 1 to a 7.
You're probably a 3 or a 4 now.
No, I'm telling you the truth. This is the truth, man.
So it was the Air Jordan 15 that got you into it.
Yeah, Jordan 15 is.
Okay.
That's actually dope, because on the flip side of that, that's probably, I would say, the most hated of all the original Jordans, right?
I would say that. Yeah, I'd agree with that.
I'm gonna say this. I feel like Jordans 15 to 23 are made for the future. Like if you notice, like it didn't fit the swag back then, like the baggy swag, like it just did not work for that era. But if you notice, like the shoes have a nice sleek look, they go nice with denim. It's like a way different vibe. I think Tinker was in a different place making those.
I'd agree with that. I'd agree with that.
Do you think that has anything to do with like Mike not wearing as many of them throughout those years?
I think so. I think so. Like you have to have that connection, and I think that's why Jordans are struggling. The retros are I mean the main series, the 34, 35, whatever. It's struggling because who's going to be that face to carry the brand? You know.
Yeah, but
You
they
know,
sell out. I mean, they're selling the shoes. The
but
35 selling out.
but nobody's buying a 35 to get fly in a 35. Maybe play sports in it, play basketball. Yeah. You know, you don't. I put it like this: you don't know. You can't. There's no figurehead for Nike. You know, there's no. You can't see the Greek goddess. You know, but you can see Mike as the god. He's still here. So it's like nobody's ever going to jump above him in that brand. You know.
Yeah.
That's it. That's kind of weird about it right now, right? Like we're in this spot where, like, okay, you got Russ, you got Zion, you got Luka, you got a lot of the arguably some of the best players for the next 5 to 10 years.
They took I think Jordan Brand took the cream of the crop of the best young talent in the NBA and put to their roster.
Yeah, but you can't. That's the hard part now, right?
Jason Tatum, they got great.
Tatum, yeah. But they all want. I mean, I assume they would all want their own signature shoe. You can't give them. You can't say play in Mike's shoe. I mean, yeah, we all want to play in Mike's shoes, but at the same time, you're in the league. You gotta want your own signature shoe, right?
Yeah, you want your own brand. I think you will want your own brand.
It's weird though, because when you come to the brand, like you don't get the signature shoe right off the rip. It's kind of like, we'll see what happens. Zion, Zion had to go in. You're going to get your own shoe. And it actually does look good. I mean, it does. It does look good. But, I think Jeremy hits a lot on the head when he talks about Jordan Brand and athletes there, because Jeremy often says, like, you're admitting that you're never going to be better than Mike.
It's hard,
right?
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. I mean, I like I said, it's interesting to see where, as it keeps going, I want them to sign Mbappe. Selfishly, every time I talk to them, I'm pushing them to sign Mbappe. But I don't. It's come down to the fact that they're like, yeah, we don't have that. We can't sign Mbappe. Nike's going to give him $1 billion. But I'd like to see him move more into soccer. I love the collaboration that they did with Neymar. Years ago when they did the 5, the low. And I love the PSG stuff. I do. I love the PSG stuff. And to be honest with you, I'd like to see them do a little more of making things with colleges available. Maybe not the top flight, the 5 that just came out, whatever, but something, right? And especially like Georgetown, because, other than Louisville, Georgetown is Allen Iverson, again, Concord 11, Big East tournament, MSG. Like I said, AI was that guy. So I really wanted to see. I'd like to see more, and I'd like to see Georgetown get more love. I really would, because all you see is Oklahoma and North Carolina and whatever. I'd like to see them, and I'd like to see more of the schools, more of the product, some version of something be available. But I do like where it's going as far as teams, because I love the PSG stuff. And I think, and I like to see them branching out into other sports.
I think that's actually really good for American consumers too, right? Like,
yeah,
you're a fan of a lot of stuff, globally, and I think that's something that I just talked to. This morning I talked to a bunch of the guys from London, Germany. My friend Kieran is from Australia but lives in London, and like their perspective on it is really fascinating because there's Mike and there's a little bit of skateboarding, there's a little bit of American culture that kind of made its way over, but it's still about football, right? Like football is
Right.
leaps and bounds in terms of popularity, and I think that's something that we don't even like. So I don't know when it was. I would say like 2-3 months ago I was having this conversation about, just the bullshit that is Instagram, the number of followers, right?
Yeah.
Like that. I think that, the relationship with Kanye and just the pure massive amounts of fans that are with the rest of the Kardashian clan has to be something you think about if you're a business person, right? Because it's just purely unreal how much they have in terms of reach and fan base and all that. But somebody maybe on Twitter or on an Instagram comment or something said something about talking about like, I guess like something about like the most famous or the most followed kind of athletes in on Instagram in American sports, and I just thought like that doesn't even matter. Like if you actually look at the fan base for football or even Formula One, right? Like on something else we both share an interest in, these people have a massive global audience that just shits on American influencers in terms of size without even really putting effort into it. Like it's not even the same kind. It's like this is something that I'm really fascinated about, the dynamic of how these things, as we it's funny because like the internet, our phones give us access to many things around the globe that we never had access to, but at the same time we're all in the same damn Nike sneakers queue, the Confirmed app. We're like all in the same spot. We're not expanding, our interests or knowledge or anything like that. It's really fascinating.
I do think and Jeremy will tell you I'm a big proponent of the Yeezy brand. Not so much of Kanye, but I do think Kanye needs more people around him that love him and guide him and everything else. So I'm not going to get on here and talk bad about Kanye at all. But the thing about it is for me, and I want Jeremy to say, right now for me, it's like, I'm a fragment. Like I love fragment. I love fucking Hiroshi, right? And I rock everything, but the fragment 35s that came out, the fragment 3s, and then there was this fragment like running like low cut. I don't know what Jordan shoe it was.
Yep.
But now, like if I'm going out and it's not just for me to go to dinner, whatever. If I'm going to dinner, I'm gonna wear something fly, right? I'm gonna wear the Union 4s, I'm gonna wear whatever, the Travis ones. But if I'm gonna go travel and I'm going to if I'm going to go, I want comfort. I want comfort, right? Like, and I fuck with Yeezy because that's some comfortable shit. The Ultra Boost, comfortable shit. Like Yeezy 350s, comfortable shit. And what I'm saying about Jordan is thankfully like and like there's this new running Nike running Epic shoe. I mean, I'm not fucking running anywhere. I mean, let's be honest. But it's called like the Run Invincible shoe. It's probably the most comfortable shoe I've ever put on my foot. So that's now what I'm more interested in is comfort, right? I want to be fly. I want to have cool shit. But that it was the cadence, the Jordan cadence, the fragment. Yeah. So I wear the shit out of those. No, if I'm going to dinner and I'm traveling, I'm still going to take my Travis 1s, Union 4s, trophy rooms, whatever it is. But on a day-to-day basis, when I have to be on my feet and I'm traveling, and when I'm in Europe or wherever, I walk everywhere. I mean, I walk 10 miles a day in Paris. So thankfully, like there's something that I love so much, like fragment design, that is now fly, right? And it's just interesting to see, like, because outside of America, like Adidas and Yeezy, like NMDs are still Ultra Boost. Like Adidas outside, and that goes back to football. What you just said.
Yeah. It is crazy though. Like Kanye, man, like, all the chaos aside, right? Everything that he makes and does turns out dope. Like whether it's music, and you could get into the nuances of like his music
Perm
evolves and all that
what's
stuff.
that shit that you love, Perm?
750s?
No, the foam runners.
Oh yeah, those are dope as fuck. I need a pair. The foam runners, so fire.
Yeah.
So I don't like the aesthetics of that shoe, but I want a pair just to be able to throw them on and feel them, right? Because look, if like you said, right, it comes down to comfort, right? Like I know, we've all got plenty of sneakers to choose from. Half the time we wear shit that's uncomfortable because of the nostalgia or because of the colors or whatever, right? Like I love the Jordan 1, but God, like give me some better cushioning, a better insole. Exactly. Like that shoe could be so much better and you could keep it looking like it's 85. But like that's the thing about the Boost stuff, the Yeezy stuff. It's we all get back to that at some point. No matter how much you get into sneakers, if the shit is uncomfortable, you're not going to choose to wear it. And I think that's where, like, man, the Ultra Boost was like the super home run because everybody was watching Kanye at that moment to say what's going to happen. He comes out wearing like an Energy Boost, an Ultra Boost, like these like kind of early Boost models from Adidas that hadn't. I mean, the Ultra Boost did sell well when I was at Finish Line from the very get-go, but not Kanye level of.
It didn't explode.
Selling well. Yeah.
It exploded when Kanye wore the all white, triple white Ultra Boost. Ultra Boost went to the fucking moon.
Yep.
And I don't, because I will tell you this, credit to Big Perm. It doesn't matter where we are, bro. He wears his ones and like Jordans like all the time. And it's like when we were in Chicago, bro, for All-Star, he'll tell you, I got back to the room because I wore the threes. I wore all that hype shit all day long. And when I took my shoes off at the end of the day, I was like, God damn. I mean, it was like,
the same thing when we was on campus, when we went after we got back from campus.
Oh, yeah.
Nike campus is big as fuck. I ain't gonna lie. If you walked around it, it's crazy. But when he got back to the room, he was like, I'm not taking these shits off.
Man, oh man.
And there's no disrespect to Jordan Brand or Nike.
Yeah.
It's just like.
But thank God for the cadence. And there's like a PSG shoe that I wear all the time now. Mm-hmm. I just can't, like I said, I just can't all day wear, a 4. Mm-hmm. Like it's just, I just can't do it. I'd love to. And listen, me. When Jeremy will tell you the funny story about when we were at campus, right? Because I'd known the Fire Red 4s have been coming for quite a while, right? Because the Fire Red 4s are like the last Jordan that I needed in my size and OG form, right? But now I need, it's not the Fire Red 5s. Do you know the 5s with the black tongue? And the 5s with the white ones with the black tongue, but had the 23 stitched on the side, right? I need those in OG form, right? I've got everything else, so I need those. Oh, and I need Fire Red 3s in OG form. I need Fire Red 3s in OG form, Nike Air on the back, and those are in the pipeline. 2s are in the pipeline. But when Jeremy and I were in the MJ building, we were walking down, I go, when the fuck am I getting my Fire Red 4s? And they were like, you can shut the fuck up and stop driving us all crazy because you're getting them this year. And I was like, thank God. I ended up with like 30 pair, bro.
You ever seen
I ended up with like 30 pair.
You ever seen The Dark Knight when Batman is interrogating? That was him upstairs. That was him for the 4s. I swear to God.
It was. I did. I walked up, and it was like the Paris. They just came out with the Paris 34s. The Jordan Brand athletes were playing, and they only made like 100 pairs of them or some shit. And Melo had them, right? And the pair they had there were going to Jason Tatum, and I was like, yo, like I'll make a 15 work. Like, no, you're not.
You know what's so funny about that? The box was on the table somewhere else. We talking or whatever. He's like, that's the 30. That's the Paris 34, right?
Yeah.
Like the person didn't even know. They was just like, oh, it is.
Yeah,
no, like,
he
how do
just
you
on campus. He got the spidey sense turned on.
Oh yeah, like I know where the closet is. Like I know, like don't bullshit me. I know some shit's in here. You're not fucking with me. Like this ain't my first rodeo, motherfucker. I know there's some shit in here that is a size 9, 9.5 that's got my fucking name on it. And oh yeah, like the fire red 4s, bro. Like I ended up with like 30 pair of those. 25, 30 pair. I mean, like that, and because I've been, this move, possibly to Spain and whatnot, because I've, like the Concord 11, I am about those, right? And my mom's like, we're not moving 800 pairs of Concord 11s to fucking Madrid. And I'm like, well, what are we going to do? And she's like, I don't know, but we're not moving 800 pairs, 900 pairs of Concord 11s to Madrid. I'm like, but I need them close to me. Like, like the Concord 11 is it for me. And I'm going to tell you a good thing. Like everybody at Jordan Brand, like that's my family, right? And so when the Bread 11s, came out, 2 years ago?
2 or 3 now. 3.
I think 3.
3 years ago when they, and they came back out. I'm not going to name any names, but they were coming out at Christmas and Real Madrid was playing Barcelona and the Clasico was was real close to the release date, right? And so I was in Barcelona and I was like, yo, I got to wear them to the game, right? They FedExed, overnighted them to me, to my hotel in Barcelona, so I would have them to wear the next day to the game. Real shit.
You an athlete or something? Huh?
What?
You an athlete?
Yeah. You're fucking right I am. Fucking right I'm an athlete.
Man.
Yeah. Funny, so I just actually had Reham on the podcast this last week. And I know you and her have a great relationship. And I don't want to, this was off the record, but you should talk to her, or you probably already have, about one of her moves and moving her sneakers, because that's something that's always fascinating to me, right? Once we get to a certain point, this shit's a burden, man.
Yeah,
like, like I've had multiple storage units. I've moved in the time that I've known you, in the 10, 15 years I've known you, I've probably moved 10 times.
Right.
Like
right. Sacramento,
5 or 6
LA,
of those times across the country. Yeah. Like I was in New York, I'm in LA, I'm in Colorado, like Detroit, like, and that's a really interesting thing about like this whole hobby, right? We get so worked up about it, but then it also is like, man, it's a pain in the ass to keep up with it. Sometimes it's like,
I will tell you this though. What I've started doing is like I have at least 2 pair at my house, and then I've got like 7 or 8 storage units. And so like everything like would stay in storage units, but what's actually in my house, like I that would actually have to move with me. You know what I'm saying? Like I would have to have no less than 3 pair of Concord 11s at my disposal. And that means the highs, that means the lows, that means 45, that means 23. Like I would have to have a minimum of 3 each, just in case. Just in case, like I said, just in case, because it's like Real Madrid. It's like when I'm at Real Madrid games, right? You'll like this, right? When I'm at Real Madrid games, whatever, and we'll be losing, right? Or the score will be tied. Like I'll go and change my jersey at the half, right? When fucking like some shit, my day's not going well, like I'll be like, I gotta put a new pair of Concords on. I gotta put a new pair of Concords on. And it's like with the Concord, there was some stuff several years ago that went on. The Concord is a sense of comfort for me, and I'd wear them, and then I basically wore a new pair every day for like over a year, right? And then that afternoon when I was done, I would take them and give them to a children's charity, because I'm real big on that. I'm real big on, I'm 43 years old. 43 fucking years, my mom has made sure I get the new pair of J's every fucking Christmas. Every Christmas, she makes sure I get the new pair of J's. So I think every kid should have, every kid should have the joy that I have of waking up and giving them to them. So I try to give away as many Jordans as possible every Christmas. But you know, that's a sense of comfort for me. And everybody at Jordan Brand knows it. You know, they're like, yeah, he's fucking crazy. He's got 1,000 pair of Concord 11s, you know, and it was. And like, I was going through some stuff, some health stuff with my mom, and I wore a new pair of Concord 11s every morning for over a year. And I was going to the hospital, whatever. And I had to have that. Like, it's my sense of comfort. And it's like the people at Jordan Brand, when I was going to the Classico, they're like, yo, we're fucking over. Give them the name of the address, give us the hotel, and we'll overnight them to Barcelona so you'll have them to wear, you know? And it's a sense, that particular shoe is a sense of comfort for me. And you know that the Fire Red 4 was the first, and I can tell you, going back to the 1, every single place I bought every pair of Jordans, from the 1 to the 35, every fucking place. And the 4, the Fire Red 4 was the first Jordan I bought in men's size at Tyson's Corner, at the Foot Locker at Tyson's Corner. I bought my Olympic 7s at Champ Sports at Tyson's 2, the Galleria. And it's just like I said, I mean, it's a sense of comfort for me. And you know, Matt, my brother at corporate, says like, you know, TD's the most unassuming sneaker person you've ever met in your life. But it is like, that is the sense of comfort for me with the sneakers, and especially the Concord 11. You know, it is. And I'm curious, because I've never asked Big Perm this. What is your, like, what makes you feel good, Perm? And I want to ask you the same question, Nick. Like, what, because you know, I just told you what makes me feel good and my heart feel good when I put them on, because you know Concord 11 smell a certain way too, right? They got a certain smell to them out the box, the whole fucking thing. So what is your, both of you, what is your, like, I feel good?
Oh, man, I got to grab them. Hold on. Give me like 30 seconds. 30 seconds. 30 seconds.
All right, Nick, what tell me.
So for me, it's not necessarily a specific colorway, but I think, you know, it's 2 shoes, right? It's the Reebok Question.
Okay.
You know, mainly that blue toe original, like, but it's also the Jordan 3. The Jordan 3.
Well, which one? The cement or the black or the white?
I mean, I'd probably default to the black. The True Blue is always special to me because when I was a kid, I didn't have this stuff growing up. But what happened was I would see all the kids in the neighborhood and everybody bought Bulls colorways. And I remember going into the mall one day and seeing the True Blues. And the same thing happened with the Military 4s, where I didn't even know that shit existed, because everything I saw was Bulls colorways. And like, blue has always been one of my favorite colors, orange being another one, obviously. But like, I remember vividly still, like, as a kid going in and being like, what, where, how did nobody, why does nobody at school have this colorway? Right. Like, because I still wanted it to be like, stand out a little bit, be, you know, different a little bit, you know, and Jordans were rare enough at that time. You didn't see everybody wearing them. So it was like, I was still in awe anytime I saw a kid that had them.
Right.
But I think like it kind of, you know, bounces back and forth between those two. It's like, I absolutely.
Do you always have a fresh pair?
Most of the time. Yeah. Okay. I would say between a Jordan 3 and Questions, 100% of the time, I always have a couple of pairs dead stock that, you know, and that ebbs and flows, right? Because I do the same thing, right? Like at one point, it just got to be like the blessing and the curse of you know, having relationships with people at the brands and getting sent a pair of shoes. So every time I get sent a pair of shoes, I give away a pair of shoes. That's like golden rule number 1 for me. And I think that is, you know, it used to be that I would stockpile a lot more. There are definitely shoes. So I never got into Air Force Ones, right? Just was never my thing. But when the original white on white Question Low came out, it was like God came down and said, Nick, this is the shoe for you. Right. When that shoe retroed for the first time in probably 2014, 15 or something, I bought like 10, 15 pairs of that shoe. And I still have, you know, like, I don't know when it's coming back, so I keep a couple of them just in case. But that's a shoe that I'll beat up, right? Like, I'll wear it. And, you know, it's funny too, because now it's cool to wear your white on whites and have them look grungy. And that was never for me. Like, it was always like, you wanted it fresh, right? Like, but that's also kind of interesting too about the generational change anyway. So
What was yours, Jeremy?
This shoe right here. This is like everything to me.
Really?
I always am. I've liked ones before Kanye wore ones. Like, so let me reiterate that. Like, a lot of people started liking Jordan ones in 2013. I was wearing Jordan ones with boot cut jeans. So this is like the greatest shoe ever to me. Like 85 ones are just ones in general. A nice cook pair, you can't go wrong ever.
Why is it that ones look better beaten up?
They just have that. It's just something about that vintage. I've always been obsessed with vintage culture, the 80s, 90s growing up. So that feel, just something cooked like that is just chef's kiss. This is just different. So different, bro.
You know what's interesting about that? So I have a friend, Mario, that does like these restorations for people and customs and stuff. And he's like, all these guys are doing some amazing stuff in this. Like, it just, when we were kids, like I was painting my shoes when they got beat up just to make them fresh. But now we're at this point where there's so many shoes on the market that I love seeing like a shoe like that, where like, I like actually wearing the old stuff too, right? Because I do think that a lot of that original stuff, the uppers, the leather was much nicer. But
oh yeah.
I also, like, as a kid, or hell, even as a younger adult, right? I would beat them up. I would skate in them. I would play basketball in them. I'd walk all over the place in them. So I would wear through the soles on a lot of the Jordan 1s and Dunks. And now you can swap them. Like, it's like you could take that shoe will be yours for the next 50 years. You run through the bottom of it, swap a new one on. It reminds me of like my parents and grandparents doing boots, like I never wanted to be a part of that, but now I'm like, damn, that's a good idea.
What do you think of customs? You know what I think? I'm going to keep it A1-1000 with you. I think you walking around with some shit from Canal Street. That's what I think. Fuck your customs. I am a traditionalist, right? I'm a traditionalist. It is what it is. And customs to me is you're wearing some fucking Fakos. I don't smoke fake Cuban cigars, and I don't wear goddamn customs. If it didn't come from fucking Nike, or it didn't come from Adidas, or whatever, I'm not fucking with it. Because people are always like, yo, we can put a heel tab on the military fours that's Nike. I'm like, fuck you. I'm wearing a fucking Canal Street goddamn Jordan.
Okay, I gotta show you something.
What were you saying, Jeremy?
I'm kind of, I don't know. Like, I don't have no problem with it. Certain things I won't buy or wear, but it just, I don't get no issue with it. People do, some people want certain things.
You can see if you wear customized shoes, you wearing fucking Fakos. That's what all I'm telling you is.
But all right,
fucking Fakos. You might as well go shop your motherfucking shit on Canal Street.
Let me say this before we get into that. Like, about the fake one trend that's going on now. People making the fake ones. Yeah. I'm not for it. I don't think that's like, you're just. What's the difference between a unauthorized pair of sneakers, a fake pair, and those? You know what I'm saying? Like,
yep, I agree.
When do we get to the point that fake sneakers are cool? Fake Jordan 1s are cool to wear. Like, when we, that's just, come on.
You know what happened? Let me tell you something. The difference now is it's called attitude adjustment. If more people got the shit beaten out of them for wearing some stupid shit, you wouldn't see people wearing stupid shit. You wouldn't see people going around wearing all this shit. It's called attitude adjustment. And there's some people that need a good ass kicking. You get the shit beaten out of you real good one time, you're not going to be coming back around with that fuckery. Because there's a lot of fuckery afoot these days. You know that, Perm. You and I talk about the fuckery being afoot. And some people need some attitude adjustment. And if you get your shit beaten out of real good, that's called attitude adjustment. You're not going to be wearing any fucking fake shoes. That's my free lesson for the day, my brother.
Let's just erase all that from the podcast. It didn't happen.
Yeah. All right. So the one exception to the custom thing, right? I will probably never wear a pair of customs, but when I moved to LA,
now Nick, I'm gonna have to make that because I love Nick's my brother. Now he's gonna make me feel bad.
No, I wanted to do something a little different, right? Because me and my girl moved to LA together. You know, and we're big into the museum thing. So this is a shoe that
Peterson Auto Museum.
That, you know, we put all the museums that we wanted to go to in Los Angeles on it. And my friend Andrew, he's Laptop Lassane on socials. Andrew Lassane basically created this for me, right?
Okay.
So the other one has the LA, you know, did a custom box for us and everything, right? So to me, I look at customs as like art. You know, the only way I want that is if it's artistically done. I don't care if you like, look, I'm a massive Giants fan, but if you took the Giants logo and stitched that thing onto a black and orange Jordan 1, I still think it's garbage, right? Like, two of my biggest passions in life, sneakers and the Giants, still doesn't matter, right? Same thing, like, you know, all of this stuff with people swapping the logos and stuff. I get that it's a great side hustle for a lot of people. Hell, a full-on hustle, not even a side thing for some of these guys, right? It's just not my thing. More power to you if you're into that. But like, I'd rather have a personal connection with either the story of the shoe or the person that customized it, the person that did it.
I can completely, what you just showed me, my girlfriend, my move, the design, that's fine. I can understand that completely. You know, I 100% can. But I'm just talking about in general, you know, going around with, I appreciate you, going around, with some custom shit on, it's fucking weird.
I draw the line.
Weird. You're a fucking weirdo.
I draw the line at somebody turning a regular Jordan 1 to a fragment Jordan 1. You know what I'm saying? Like turning it into the colorway, then putting the logo on it, and that's like, come on, bro. Like, what are we doing here? Yeah. Like, I've been a big component of, if I can't afford it, it's just not for me. I've never tried to live out of my means. If I could buy it, I could buy it. If I can't get it, I can't get it.
And I'm gonna tell you this, Nick. I love Big Perm. That's my brother, right? Now, Big Perm's a big guy. But this man can pull off some goddamn leopard skin pants like you've never seen before in your life. We were in Chicago at All Star, and boy, I tell you what, he comes out walking in his off-white ones, fucking big dick energy, right, coming out, motherfucker wearing some leopard goddamn pants.
I have on no leopard.
And he's wearing his Fear of God hat. He's got his Supreme hoodie on. Big Perm's a bit of a hype beast.
Hey, we all are at some point, though. We all are at some point.
You're right.
I had a point with sneakers. About early 2010s, it was like it got to the point where everything had to be worth $1,000. It had to be worth this, it had to be worth that, and I fell out of love with sneakers. Like, where I just like, if it wasn't expensive, I wasn't wearing it.
Listen, he got into sneakers with the Galaxy Foams in Orlando. That's when he got into sneakers.
Don't you dare.
That's when he got into sneakers. And real talk, bro, that fucking shit that went down in Orlando at the Florida Mall, like, I went with my mom, because I go with my mom, like I said, it's a son, mom and bond thing, whatever, get the new sneakers, whatever. And me, I'll rig a motherfucking auction. I'll rig an auction real quick. Whether it be the vault in downtown LA, the Aston Martin pack. I'm not gonna throw people under the bus here, but I'll rig a motherfucking auction to get what I want, right?
Minutes of federal crimes and shit on a
yeah. And I'm not throwing anybody under the bus, but anyway, when the shit happened in Orlando and I went into the mall and I got the LeBrons and I got the Galaxy Foams, right? And I walked out and like fucking, it was crazy, right, with them. And like everybody was like, it was hysterical. I was like, I wonder what the hell all this fuss is about. Because I didn't have a clue. I didn't have a clue what was going on. And then like the next day on the news, I was like, oh, the Galaxy Foams and this, that, whatever. And I'm like, well, son of a bitch. And then I had to get them. You know what? Matt actually got my pair in Cincinnati. He actually got my pair because I really wasn't fucking with him that much. And I gave Matt my pair in Cincinnati. I gave my pair, and he got because Nike sent me like 5 or 6 pair of Red Octobers, right? And I was walking through because I was talking to Matt. Shout out to Matt. I love you, on the phone in London. I was in London. He's like, yo, have you heard that, you know, something might be dropping soon. I'm like, you know, dude, like I haven't. I'm in London. I'm walking through Hyde Park. And my mom called me right after I got off the phone with Matt. And she's like, a big box came from Nike. And I said, well, open it and see what it is. And they say, all Air Yeezy 2 SPs, right? And open the, I said, well, see what they are. And she takes them out. She goes, these are fucking horrible. You're not actually going to wear these, are you? And so anyway, I got back. And I regret because I've only got one pair left. And I wear them. I wear them all the time. But I gave away the other 4, 5, or 6, and Matt got a pair of them. But now I regret not having a pair to keep on ice.
All right, so we only got a couple minutes left, and I'm going to throw a little curveball at you guys because Jeremy's got the Fear of God hat on. What do you guys think of Jerry Lorenzo hopping over to Adidas?
I don't think that he's going to be as strong without the Nike banner. I just think certain people are not as strong enough to carry their own brand without that backing. Like it's like if Virgil Off-White is a brand. Like they make sneakers. Nobody wears an Off-White non-Nike sneaker. You know what I'm saying? So you can't.
Now I will tell you, there's some fucking weirdos over in Europe that I see wearing those weird ass fucking Off-White shoes.
I mean,
I'm just being honest. Bunch of fucking weirdos over in Asia and fucking Europe and like Russia and the Ukraine and all those other parts of the world. I see when I go over there, they're fucking wearing those terrible Off-White sneakers. That shit's horrible too, bro. Fucking terrible.
Yeah, I don't think Jerry's. I think his clothing, the essentials, and everything else he's doing is amazing. Amazing stuff. Yeah. But as far as just being able to, it's like Sean Witherspoon trying to make the Adidas.
Yeah,
it's not. You weren't the reason why it was what it was. Just, you know, you just was a part of this big organization, you know.
And you had now. This is the thing about it is Nick, for me, it's like the Yeezy 2 or the Yeezy, right? Why was it so fucking fly? Because it was shoes that we loved. Like I actually had a motherfucking kid tell me one time that the Yeezy 2, that the Air Tech Challenge, the sole actually came from the Yeezy. Right? And I'm like, you know what you do? You wake up every morning and drink stupid juice.
No, but you can't.
Right? You drink fucking stupid juice for breakfast every morning, kid. And the same kid tried to tell me that the Air Max 97s, the like Sprite colored ones, that colorway came from the LeBrons. See, we've got generation stupid right now. That's the fucking problem.
You can't blame them for that because it comes down to
generation stupid.
What popularized it for this era, you know, like it's an informational gap. So like a lot of people didn't know, you know, a lot of people don't know that soul came from the Tech Challenge. Probably don't even know who Andre Agassi is or who he looks like.
Blows my mind. So here's the thing about it is your question, Nick. What made the Sean Witherspoon shoe so fucking fly? The Nike. Like, yeah, he tweaked it a little, but who doesn't love that silhouette for Nike, the running shoe, right? Yes, he tweaked it, right? But what made everyone want it was a tweak on one of the most iconic Nike shoes of all time, right? So it's going to be real interesting to see what he does with Adidas. And I'm not saying he can or can't. I want everybody to succeed and win in life. But I don't think and Jeremy with the valid point, I don't think it can be what it was at Nike.
So I tend to agree, but I would say that I'm hopeful that it turns into another Yeezy situation, right? Because we're kind of at this point where there's not much competition, and I think that the competition is always good, right? I think that, you know, when other than Yeezy, right? Like obviously Kanye and the Adidas stuff is doing incredible, but outside of that for Adidas, a lot of stuff is struggling. And I would love to see
in America, but not in Europe, not in the rest of the world.
And I'd love to see more of these like, you know, bigger designer creators that are popular push themselves out into other spots to try to like stamp, yo, I'm bigger than Nike, right? Like to me, that's, I mean, I'm not in a place to do a collaboration with anybody like that because I'm just not creative in that way. But if I made my name with Nike, I'm looking at it as like, how do I prove that it's not just Nike that made me successful at this stuff, right? I mean, and maybe it's just like that's just a different way of thinking. I would love to have conversations with all those guys about that, right?
And I will tell you that Jerry will sit with you and have the most intense conversation about a zipper for 6 hours. Yeah. So his attention to detail, I think, is incredible. I think it's incredible. So I'm not going to be surprised if it does go on to, massive success, because his attention to detail is so incredible. He will literally sit with you for 6 hours and talk to you about a zipper.
Yeah.
I want to say this one thing really quickly. Adidas, Kanye West is going to be the future of footwear. And the youth, this generation coming up right here, is going to be a Yeezy. Like, you know how in the 90s it was Jordans. Like, those kids grew up and it was Mike this, Mike that. These kids are growing up with Yeezy Boost.
Yeah.
Nike, if they don't act now, they're going to lose their hold on the future, because Nike is just focused on being a retro brand.
Couldn't agree more, because I'm going to tell you, Nick, and Jeremy and I talk about this just real quick. My niece and nephews, what do they want, Jeremy?
Boost, Yeezys.
Yep. I think it's a valid point. I think it's going to be really interesting. I think it's going to be great for the business too, because it's going to make people get out of their comfort zones to figure it out. But
I will say this: how many times can you retro a sneaker? Like, we're going to see the same shit year after year. How many times? I'll say this: what hot sneaker did Jordan brand make or Nike make that it's not a collaboration?
Yeah, I mean, that's a whole conversation around retro products.
I'll tell you this: the Fragment Jordan 1 lows and the Fragment highs are fucking fire. They're fucking fire, bro.
If you take that Fragment logo off that fucking shoe, it's gonna be on the fucking shelf.
No, because it's Travis, and anything Travis.
You remove all those elements from it. Just remove those elements from it.
Yeah,
it's not. It's just people only go after what's hot. That the collaboration is. Yeah. Not collab shoes is just not it. Honestly.
Yeah.
Or unless it's a Jordan 1 now. Jordan 1s in general just.
Yeah, dunks occasionally now too. I mean, not occasionally, but most of the dunks lately. But that won't be.
What brought dunks back?
What
brought dunks back?
It's just the time.
Travis.
No, I don't want to give Travis the credit, bro. I don't want to.
He definitely poured gasoline on the fire with it, though.
I don't want to do it. I don't want to give him, because I know there's people out here that have been a proponent of dunks for forever, and I've never been a dunk guy. I'm
a big dunk guy. I mean,
if you ever see me in a pair of dunks, I'm a high beast. That's straight up. That's straight up what it is, bro. You'll never see me in a pair.
All right, guys, this has been an awesome chat. We've been going for about an hour now. People in the comments asking how they can follow you guys, so let them know how they can connect to you on social.
Harlem Jerm, and I want to give us. Listen, I need to give some shout outs. I want to shout out to my brother Nick Ingval. I love you, brother. Man, it's been fucking forever. 06, 05, something like that. The Sneaker History Podcast. Shout out to all the people that support us. Kicking it with Didi, Nick Ingval, Sneaker History Podcast. Sneaker Rumors, my brother Harlem Jerm. Even though you listen, I bust his balls, but he's my brother. I love him like a fat kid loves cake. It's my boy. Nick and I go back like 4 flat tires. And Politics of Life, the podcast, YouTube channel, we are getting back into it. I have just been wrapped up in something that I'm going to share with everyone very, very soon. I am just under a lot of pressure to get something done. So and Jeremy and I will be sharing it soon because it's going to be big. So follow Politics Life. I'm the one, if you go to Politics Life Twitter, I'm the one talking shit on Twitter. I'm talking about shit about everybody. I'm an equal opportunity shit giver. I don't give a fuck. I talk shit about everybody. So I'm on there, Politics Life, the Facebook page, Instagram, Twitter, all that shit. Harlem Jerm, Sneaker Rumors. My guy Nick, I love you, brother. Big Perm, you know I love you. I'm excited about getting back in it. There'll be new podcasts every Friday. We're gonna have guests, and we'll do some IG lives. We'll get Nick on there, do some IG lives. This is exciting, but I loved it, and it's given me, Jeremy, you know, my mental health's been kind of struggling lately, so I very much needed this, and I want to thank you and give you a big hug, and when I see you for doing that, because my mental health has been down some, and you really helped me, brother, so I appreciate it.
Right on. Jeremy, what's your Instagram again?
Harlem Jerm. Harlem Jerm, and you can follow Sneaker Rumors as well. I'm one of the founders of Sneaker Rumors, so that's like a page me and my friend started in like 2012.
Yeah. Back when the 350s came out, when he got into fucking sneakers.
You're not going to discredit.
I'm an equal opportunity sneaker. Fucking Big Pearl got in. The first pair of sneakers bought was goddamn turtle doves.
You're not going to discredit my stripes. I'm a veteran in this game.
Yeah, a fucking veteran. Nick and I are fucking veterans.
I'm a veteran.
You can't be a veteran in sneakers unless you saw Michael Jordan come out wearing the new Air Jordans or Bo Jackson or Andre Agassi.
All right.
You're like a whippersnapper. Your balls just dropped, bro.
Listen, not all of us could rig raffles. Some of us had to camp out for weeks.
Hey, good point. Hey, I agree. I agree.
I'll give you that one. I'll give you that one.
I was 17, 16 outside in trenches. All right.
Yeah. You know what that sounds like? That sounds like a you problem, not a me problem.
All right, guys. It's been awesome.
Right.
Thank you so much for making the time to make this happen. Love you guys. I'll talk to you guys soon. Thank you, everybody, for listening.
We'll do it again.
You bet. All right, guys. We'll catch you on the next time. Peace.
Peace.